Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Yo, everybody, it's Override. So let's get to it. Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain. I am not a banjo player at all by any... Well, that was a ukulele. I cannot play that, and we know that from the Fight Club of Pain. But what's up, Steve? How you doing? Yeah? Dude, that's great. That's great. I think my thing is somehow messed up. So we're just gonna do this. All right, can you hear me? You can't hear me. We are live. Is your music down?
Is that better?
So normally
here we go. Yeah,
these problems.
You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway, we're back. We're live. That's one hell of an opening for no apparent reason. My Wi-Fi's stopped working. Literally just stopped working. It wouldn't work. And so I'm like, all right, well, let me go put it in there. And then I go in there and it's still trying to say those are working. But anyway, everybody knows this is the Ultra Contrarian show. And I am Heat Override, your host. This is Fuego Steve. We're going to be talking NFL Week 17 DFS. Also at the end, we will give out lineups. And I have a lineup and some bets for today's game. So that's what we're going to definitely get into a little bit. But how's things been for you, Steve? How did the holidays treat you? And how are you ready for the new year?
Pretty well. And, I think a lot of people know this just has been a crazy month for me. I moved. So I'm in a new place and I've been here, less than a month. So I'm still trying to organize it and all that stuff, but I'm ready to get this done, man. And NBA, we won't even talk about NBA right now, but I've been on fire. So
yeah, you have.
Yeah, so we got some NBA later today, but let's talk football today. I got some football plays for today as well, and I got some main slate, and let's get to it, man.
Yeah, man. So as you know, man, we're going to have Fuego Steve's core four, and then, of course, that'll be followed up by his lineup and his Fuego pick of the week. So there's going to be players you want to concentrate your lineups around. Maybe put those in your optimizers if you have use to those tools. If you don't, head over to Dr. Roto, use code WordWin, and we will make you our rich friend. That's how we do it, man. There's always a way I can get a plug-in, isn't there? I can always plug anything. That's what we do, man. That's why we bring the pain. Woo, yeah. All right, man. Yeah. You want to get into week 17? Let's do it, dude. Let's get it. All right. Quarterback, Tyler Show. I am all about this, and it's because a lot of people still aren't on the Saints bandwagon, but as you know, Steve, for multiple weeks, we've been riding the Saints band defense, and we've been now we got to pay up for a little more of them. That has caused us to come off of them. But what I really like about this game is Tyler Show has been going all out. He's averaging around 20 points a game. He's practices like the first time he's been over 5,000 in a minute. So for me, I'm gonna take advantage of that because I don't like anybody else around his level. But at the same time, yeah, okay, so last week he was 54, but every other week prior to this, he's been 44, 49, 46. So that's one of the quarterbacks. That's the highlighted quarterback that I'm gonna have in my lineups. I also like, of course, Drake May. Total awesome quarterback on that end. And I'm going to say, do not doubt Baker Mayfield. The Buccaneers want to win. And now that the Miami Dolphins have went away from the Tua era, now we're back into where we need to be. Steve, who you looking at, man?
You know, I like, geez. At first I was looking, I kind of like Jackson Dart a little, but I'm not really sure. He's kind of that mid-range. Show is great price, 5,200, perfect price. You can get a lot of stuff in there. But Mayfield, I really like. And those are the guys like in the $5,000 range. I don't think you should pay up for Allen at 7,000. Drake May at the Jets, he's got a great matchup, but 6,800. I think you get more. Those guys in that range. I don't think you need to go up to, whether it be in a cash or GPP. Sorry, my chair. Yeah. I really like Mayfield versus Miami. So I really do like Mayfield. But that's probably, I don't know. But if you want to be, Jackson Dart at Las Vegas is a sneaky play. Let me just put, that's a contrarian play. But yes. I kind of like, I do think that's a contrarian play. Let's say, like, if you went Dart, you pair him up with Will Robinson, you run it back with Shanti for Vegas, who I like anyway. You could do that. That's one of the guys I like. But I also like Mayfield as well. On the road in Miami, I also like Brissett again. I mean, all those guys in the $5,000 range, these are guys you can play, and you don't have to pay up. In this one lineup, I did kind of, I was leaning Dart, but I mean, I like all those guys. Mayfield, Brissett. I don't know about Darnold, but Lawrence again is a good play.
Yeah,
but Darnold or Lawrence?
Darnold for me. Okay, so Darnold for me, I'm a little worried about that for the past weeks, and you'll see this as we get. For me, it's the Carolina defense, and we're in Carolina.
Yeah, and then you got a West Coast team coming East Coast, that whole thing. I don't like Darnold either, but I do think you could play Lawrence at Indianapolis. He's been playing really well. I mean, the past couple of weeks, 47 and 31 DraftKings points. He's having a great year too. 300. Almost 3,500 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and throw in 322 rush yards. So I think you could go for Lawrence there too, and then, pair him up with, one of his receivers as well. But let's just be contrarian right now, and let's just go Dart versus Vegas for me.
I like that too. And with the news coming out right now that there was Max Crosby, and there was some distension between the Raiders and Max Crosby, I assume he's going to play, but if for some reason he does not play, that makes the Jackson Dart play even better. Although it was because of one of the teams I was facing in one of my semi-championships. They played Jackson Dart last week in a horrible matchup against the Vikings defense. And as we saw on Christmas Day, the Vikings defense is straight legit. They knocked Detroit right out the playoffs. And that's sad.
That's right.
This is what happens. And this is why we don't like these late season championships, because now you're going to be looking at maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was already dinged up in this game. Does Gibbs play? Yep. Is this to become more of a Monty, where we're going to see Craig Reynolds, if he's even on the roster anymore? That is the problem we're going to have with a lot of these teams. And this actually affects the Ravens, because right now the Ravens are saying that Lamar Jackson is doubtful. So, of course, we will be talking that DFS slate for tonight, Saturday as well, too, along with the bets. I got some bets, Steve. That's what we do with Dr. Roto. Oh, yeah. Right? So, Go ahead.
Okay, real quick. You were just talking, on Chris Kennedy's rankings. Josh Allen is the 7th ranked, and then you have Brissett, Mayfield, Hurts, Williams, Nix, and then Dart's 15, Goff 14. So why pay up for Allen when you now, and he's got Lawrence 4. He's got Lawrence 4. So there's no reason to pay up for Allen.
There really isn't. But that's the thing about this.
No, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, this is a 9-game slate. So sometimes in that small of a slate, you need to practically nail nail that quarterback who's going to get you the most points. And with a lot of these players being priced down, as you'll see when we get to the Ultra Contrarian lineups, how I was able, actually, when we get to the wide receiver section, you'll see why I was able to work in a lot of this money for these teams, is because there's been some things. There's people missing games now, and now that the replacements are in just as good of a position, you brought up this game, Vegas, and we'll get to that player as well too. But we're already talking about it, man. So for me, let's just move along to running backs. We can flip back to quarterback, but I think that we have this locked in at Jackson Dart. Ashton Jeanty. Everybody's going to be on Ashton Jeanty. I'm happy I have. You got to be on a man. 6,100 on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel. Oh, by the way, 5,200 on DK, 7,300 on FanDuel for Tyler Show. I didn't want to make sure that I got that out there. But anyway, Ashton Jeanty is one of 3 running backs I feel. Of course, because earlier in the week we were doing kind of a holiday Christmas show.
The macho pick never made the show. Ooh, no, and that guy was going to be Chase Brown.
So you got to have Chase Brown on your team. You got to have Jeanty on your team. And you got to have this other player that I'm going to mention on the Ultra Contrarian lineup. But those right there outside for me, James Cook at home, needing to get this done, most likely going to get 20 points against Philly. This is a big game for Buffalo. Buffalo has to win. I also like Saquon Barkley in that game, 7,600 against the Buffalo defense. The Buffalo's defense has not looked good, and I think Quinshon Judkins would have ran them over last week if he did not leave that game. Who are some of the guys that you were looking at, Steve?
Well, we're on the same page again. I mean, first of all, you have to play Jeanty, and that's why I was like, okay, you can play Dart and you run it back with Jeanty. 34.8 DK points last week, 24 attempts, 128 yards. Going again, we've talked about it, the Giants, one of the worst defenses, not the worst in the league. A chain, man. I like a chain. He's just, I think he's due for, not that he's had horrible games, but only 18, 17 in the last 3. He was in the 20s before that, so if you want to pay up at the 8,500, Cook, Cook's going to run all over Philly. I love Cook, too. Yeah. Those are the high price guys, and Shanti's number 4 on Chris Kennedy's rankings, Barkley 5, Chase 7, Cook 8, Chase Brown 10. So, those are the top guys that you want to play in cash or GPPs. Don't really worry about the ownership, but so those are the guys I like, and then if you really, how I don't like to pay down, but you could go game versus Cleveland if you wanted to pay down a little bit. I think he has a good game. Unfortunately, I think that, the Ravens need to win today, but that's a whole other story. We'll get to that. But you could go down to Gainwell if you want. You definitely could. But those are the 3, that I really like. A Chain, Jeanty, and Cook are the 3 that I like. I got, in this particular lineup, I got all 3. So.
No, and I think you bring up a great point, too. Even in Jaylen Warren's explosive game last week, the Detroit Lions defense was supposed to be one of the best against the run, and the Steelers just ran it down their throat. Now Warren comes up with a hip issue during the week, and this is just screaming another Gainwell game with nobody seen coming. And at 5,600, he's a great sway away from the slates. So that's going to be an ultra contrarian play right there, because that play right there, you got to have. I think that the Steelers are ready to play this game. However, that goes back to your Ravens tonight. If your Ravens lose, I don't think the Steelers do not have to win. They'll win the division by default, I'm pretty sure, if you guys lose. So I'm pretty sure the Steelers are not going to play. And I would, if this is this, I'm pretty sure They win the division. I mean, anybody can check it. You want to go check it. Look, I've been in karate and doing all this other stuff, getting this stuff done. But if you guys lose, it doesn't matter about next week for you guys against the Steelers. And I feel that the Steelers definitely will sit Rodgers for that game. And they possibly could sit Rodgers tomorrow if this game is, if you guys lose this game. And I think that that's detrimental. I mean, I would like to see you guys win it, make the Steelers play, and then take their week off next week. But I really, and this is huge for seasonal teams, man. I've got Warren. Do I play him? I don't think so. I'm not going to play him. It scares me because he'll be the first guy that gets pulled. And then you're going to be looking at, as we'll get to the lineups later, you'll see with some of the plays and some of the bets I'm looking at, that some of the other players, I'm already banking on this to happen. So who are you, I mean, overall, who are you looking at the most?
For what, wide receiver?
No. For running back, who do you think, without giving away your core four or your Fuego pick, who do you think is going to be the highest owned running back? Who do you think everybody's going to have?
I mean, at 6,100, Shanti's probably going to be. I mean, I don't see how he's not highly owned. I mean, I mean, because you know. In the main slate, you know, I mean, who else you got? Taylor? I don't know. He's not going to be. Barkley could be high on the app, but it's at Buffalo. You got the cold weather and stuff. You know, the whole Warren Gainwell thing is. So I think, you know, at that price, at 6,100 on DK at least, going up against the 31st ranked defense, he's going to be the highest owned running back, at least on DK.
I agree with that. I think everybody's going to be whistling Dixie. So I think that when we were talking about Cook, we were talking about Chase Brown, we were talking about this other fellow that we'll mention in a few moments when we get to the lineups. Those guys right there are going to be the keys. And if you want to sway, go A-Chain. Just got to hope that man got to make a game, because there's always that chance that boy gets hurt. That dude always gets hurt, and he pisses me off every time I roster him. So if I roster H-Han, you better not play him, because I'm telling you right now, he's gonna get hurt. That's what happens.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that I do like Barkley. I really do. I mean, you could play, you drop down Barkley if you don't want to go H-Han. You know, what's that? Okay, so I mean, you could do that. I mean, if you do that, I mean, oh my God, in this particular lineup, you know, I could do a lot more with my wide receivers if I drop down to Barkley from the chain. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about saving money. And how do we save money, Steve? We save money by punting things and going after players that not only came into a game last week and performed perfectly the way we need him to play this week. We are talking about wide receiver Kyle Williams of the New England Patriots. 3,300 on DraftKings, 4,600 on FanDuel, but that DraftKings, woo! All right, this is the play right here, because a lot of people might have been missing these things, but the Patriots are banged up in the secondary. Okay, Pop Douglas is already, he's questionable, but that dude's like little one pop, he's out, right? Boom. Boutte is out as well, too. He's already out. That leaves Diggs as practically the main guy, 5,800. But at 3,300, and with Drake May stepping into this game, huge game for the Patriots, there's no way that Kyle Williams won't get that ball. Now, last week, if everybody was watching that game, at the end of the game, when Kyle Williams was actually released, he was able to catch a long ball, and it was a 37-yard, and that for right there, plus he scored. So for me, if I get 3 targets with all those bodies around him, right, and we get 2 catches and a 37-yard touchdown for 3,300, I'm good. But now you're going to run him right next to Diggs, which means this is an uptick for Hunter Henry too. And of course, Austin Hooper, we can't forget about that guy. That sore that, ooh, I hate when he shows up, but sometimes we can call that. But I simply love the price tag that Kyle Williams has. I'll throw in a couple guys. Of course, I don't want to seem too cliche, but I think some people still might have problems with their rosters. But I think Jamar Chase is a must play. And I love A.J. Brown in Buffalo this week. Philly has to win. Jalen Hurts has to step up. Buffalo has to win. Buffalo has to step up. This game is probably going to be a shootout, and I want a lot of pieces in that game. So for me, that's what I'm looking at, and those are the other two receivers that I'm targeting on top of that guy, Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
Steve, who you got?
You read my mind, man. You read my mind. So you save money on Williams, right? Save that money. Pay down $3,300, even in GPPs, even if he's highly owned, whatever. And then you can get, I'm not going to give it up, but you can go up and get any receiver you want, especially in this particular lineup. If I drop down to Barkley and then I have Shantae, I love he's already. I don't want to give away the Fuego pick, but you get my boy my Fuego pick who's coming up, and oh man, you read my mind. And if you look at wide receivers, just have Chris Kennedy's rankings up here. One but really expensive. He's on the main side, I think. You got all these other guys. I do like Nico Collins. He's a good play.
Yeah.
But that's today, right? So we're not going to worry about that. You got Diggs at the Jets.
Seasonal names I am. So you know what? Screw Nico Collins.
Oh, yeah.
I seasonal league,
That's
bro.
right.
I want you to not have a good game because, man, I'm trying to win more money, right? But go on, Steve. Sorry about that. We get rowdy up in here. It's fantasy football team, y'all.
Oh yeah. By the way, everyone, in Eats IDP League, I'm in the championship game.
Yes, you
and then
are,
we're all
boy.
talking smack. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we're halfway through the season, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm kicking butt. But anyway, we will talk later about today. But I mean, all those receivers are really freaking good. You got Mike Evans. Man. Mike Evans, really like at Miami. He's back. He's back and ready. I mean, Ibuka is dropping, in the rankings. So I like those guys. But if this lineup, if I'm going dart, I can go, Williams, and then, my boy, he was here, Robinson, right? Robinson,
Okay.
And then I'm not going to give away my Fuego pick, but yeah. So I like the same guys that you like, and that's about it. So I'm a little hyper today. I apologize, but
no, man, we're having a great time just talking football, man. This is what this is about. This is spontaneous. This is why a lot of people can't do this live, and we choose to do it live so that, hey, if we sneeze, we sneeze. But guess what? We are thankful for all of you watching this right now. But from the bottom of our hearts at Dr. Roto, we do try very hard to make sure that all of these plays. And that's why sometimes doing this show on a Saturday is nice, because we get all those late things. Like, man, I'm scared shitless about Harold Fannin now, but I'm going to have to roll him out there. I'm going to have to roll. It's championship week. And I've just got to trust. I got to trust in Shadur Sanders. He's found him a lot so far over the last few weeks. So I'm all in. But talking about tight ends, how are we going to save some money? And this is how we're going to save some money. It's easy, people. Eminem, like DJ Magic Mike. We're talking about Michael Mayer of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, you were talking about the Gianti game. Now that Mayer steps in, Mayer already was going to get a target or two in this game. Now, because as of I saw that Jack Beck, I don't think he's doubtful, but he's questionable. There's no reason really for them to play him, maybe run him out there, but you got Mayer. And with Mayer, I see him getting that uptick just like earlier this season when Brock Bowers was out. Mayer was getting around 5, 6, 7 receptions or targets a game. He was turning that into a lot of points. He actually had more than enough And for me, while we're looking at that, 2,500 on DraftKings, 4,600 on FanDuel, you have a wide receiver and you have a tight end that give you all of the money for the rest of the players for the Ultra Contrarian lineup. Steve, who are you looking
Yeah,
at?
I mean, it's a good play. 14 on Chris Kennedy's rankings, only 2,500 on DK, like you said. So you can get a lot of other things done with 2,500. We've always talked about McBride and Kittle, but I'm not sure. I just can't pay that kind of money. I mean, what's McBride? 7,500. Now I know he's got a great matchup, and he's he did have a down. I mean, he had 40 points a couple weeks ago, but 6 last week. Only, the week before. I mean, still getting the targets. But I don't think you need to pay the 7,500. The hours is out, so that's gone. Fanning questionable, like you said, 5,000. So you can play Hunter Henry against the Jets. I like Hunter Henry against the Jets. I like that play. I like Warren, Indianapolis. I like your boy Strange at 4,000. 7 targets last week, 14 points. Going against one of the worst, defenses, especially against the tight end. But I got a sneaky play here for you. Mike Gesicki.
No, I love it.
Money,
Keep going. Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, but 3,500, okay, going against Arizona. I like that play. And I think maybe he's definitely going to be lower owned. That's for sure. So, you can actually – I actually don't mind Okonkwo. He's having a great year. And 8 catches last week, 6 catches, 44 yards, and I don't know if he scored. He scored. So he scored. That's a good play. 3,300. I like that play. You can go Otten against Miami. All these guys in the 3,500, 4,000 range below. Don't pay up. I like all those guys, but I definitely think Gesicki, Okonkwo, Otten, those are some sneaky plays there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well too. Although I will say this, so this being a 9-game slate, and if you want a for sure, I think that's where Trey McBride becomes more valuable than say somebody like maybe Nico Collins, because he's going to get that work. So when you have a small slate like this, and you practically my strategy is going to be grab as many running backs as possible because I'm building a cash game lineup. And so we'll get to that. Comedy. I see you throwing all the questions. We do have it. We're going to be giving away a lineup for tonight's game. We're just hitting up the Ultra Contrarian show, making sure that we got that. We'll also have bets also as well too. And you are right. And we'll talk about that as well too with because Green Bay hasn't had a sack in 2 games. So, and it's gone bad. It's gone down. If you go back even farther than that, me doing the top defenses article at Dr. Roto in the blogs, as well as being the IDP hero, that right there is what we will talk about when we get to that stage. But let's move it along. Let's get to the defense, bro. I said this straight up and down, and I'm gonna stand on it. The Carolina Panthers are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks and put the LA Rams back in first place. Woo! I'm telling you, Steve. I'm telling you, man. That's what we're going for.
I agree. 100% agree. Carolina is yes. They're at home, like we said. Seattle's going West Coast, East Coast, yada yada. So Panthers is 20. They're 2,100. We always say pay down for defenses. I really like them. They're getting on the board every week. 5 points, 6 points at a bye, 13 points. So they're getting on the board, and that's what you want. You want teams that are getting on the board. We always talk about defensive touchdowns are rare, and then lucky, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it. But they've been getting on the board. Pay down for defense.
I agree. And we say that every single week. We can look at all these other things. Like, I'm not playing the Jets. We already say that Drake May is going to annihilate them. I don't even think, and we know this for a fact, the Jets probably couldn't beat a college team right now because of how dysfunctional they are. Because you could be like, oh, well, they have way better players and they're going to run out there. Oh, and Breece Hall's going to run all over this college defense. Bro, the Jets don't even use him. He's not even in existence to them. He doesn't even exist. So it's not even worth it. Was that? Who was? So let's get to it. Let's go through a couple other defenses. I love the Browns defense. If for some reason the Steelers do get that, right? Boom. Next thing you know, they're out. You're facing either Mason Rudolph or Will Howard at quarterback. But even so, Myles Garrett is determined to get that sack record, which means that the Cleveland Browns are going to have at least 3 sacks on Aaron Rodgers in this game. One of them going to Myles Garrett. And because that is going to go to Myles Garrett at 2,500, you could look at a defense that a lot of people might not play, and you might be able to get 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Pick 6, I don't know. But what I'm going to go with, of course, is Panthers. If you want to lock for defense, then, of course, the Saints at Tennessee is the lock. But I like the Saints when they're 2,000, not when they're 3,500. Steve, who you looking at?
Yeah. I mean, I think just pay down. I mean, Panthers, probably the best play. Like I don't even like, why pay up 2,700 for the Raiders? I know the Giants stink, but they're not getting on the board really. Titans, you can play the Titans. I don't mind the Titans. I don't think the Bills defense now they're getting on the board. 13 interceptions, 7 fumble recoveries. They score every week, but then you're starting to get up in that range where we don't like to pay. And Ray, why are you going to pay $3,900 for the Patriots when? I mean, you could. I mean, why would you pay $3,900, $3,700 for Seattle, $3,500 for New Orleans? Get out of here, man. So just go Panthers. Go maybe Browns. Something like that. Tennessee, but just pay down. And I love the Panthers. That's all I gotta say.
Let's do it. Before you get that, I do want to say what's up to the people coming in. That comedy. We do have a question for you. We will answer that once we get past these lineups and we get into that game theory. Also, yes, we don't play this game. Me and Steve have one passion to get all of the pain bringers and all the Fuego maniacs and get them the best picks and best information possible. We don't give a crap about anything else. That is why the Fight Club of Pain has become so successful in the UFC world, how Steve is so successful in the Subs Only Discord at Dr. Roto and writing for Dr. Roto. You can catch all that behind the paywall using the code word WIN. And, we have the right here for all of your fantasy needs. We have you covered in every sport. And this is what we do. We don't talk about that other gibberish and stuff, except like maybe wrestling. That is probably some of the little masquerade that we will talk about. But for us, it's about getting you guys the best plays. Steve brings the GPP plays. I bring a cash game lineup. We talk about these players. Steve puts all of his lineups in the Subs Only Discord. I as well too, and the other guys do as well too. That's what we do as Dr. Rowe. I mean, he was just on the radio hours ago. He was just on this channel live last night. So like, follow, share Dr. Roto at Facebook, on the X, and on YouTube, as well as Heat Override and at Fuego Steve on the X. Get that content, because this is what we're going to do. If you just found us now, you could have had this all season, and that's what we do. But when we get the UFC going, I'm telling you, we are going to have a 5 or 6 digit winner this year off of our content, because the UFC was so fire last year. We were that close a few times, buddy. But man, right? You want to plug a little bit of basketball before we go?
We don't look for my lineups in Discord. I will be putting in some lineups for today. Also Steve Bell, he's been pretty good with his picks as well. He does the picks. I do the DFS. Willie does the DFS. All of us, we do it all. So look for our stuff in Discord. Look for our cheat sheets on the website. Sign up. But yeah, we'll finish football. Look for my lineups in Discord because we still have to talk about today's game. We still have to talk about today's game and my Fuego picks and all our stuff. And we got to run out.
We're gonna get that right now. So, all right, Steve, give us your core 4 and your Fuego pick of the week, my brother.
All right, here we go. Now this is for the main slate only. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Core 4. Throw Jackson Dart at Las Vegas. All right. Pair him up with Will Robinson. You got to, right? You run it back with Shanti, right? Cook, put him in your flex spot because he plays at 425, right? That's your core 4 right there. You got a little different, and you got some high own, some low own.
Mm-hmm.
Fuego pick of the week. You ready? You already mentioned him. I didn't want to give it away. Jamar Chase. He is going to be. I don't care. Oh, there goes my chair. I don't care how high he is. Get him in your lineups. I mean, look at these targets. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback for these guys. 11 targets, 16 targets, 8, 14, 10. He's gone 22, 26, 10, 21 points the last 4 weeks. Get Chase in your lineups. Period. Fuego pick of the week. Mark it down. Boom.
Woo! Yeah, that's some hot sauce, brother, man. That's what we're talking about, man. And I love it. And the fact is, now, for everybody out there, me and Steve, and I try to keep it this way, and Steve understands it too. We try to talk a little bit, but not a lot. So we do a lot of this talking on the show. So the fact that we have kind of zeroed in on the same kind of players, but have gone different ways and have different thoughts. Steve taking that chance with Jackson Dart, whereas maybe I'm going to actually go to Brissett or maybe go down to the Baker Mayfield or just stay where I'm at on Tyler's show. But at the same time, when we're flipping back on that, this is what creates great shows and what we try to do for all of you, give you a different point of view, a raw point of view, and also almost a blindfolded point of view that you guys can get what you're at. But we know we got those games starting in an hour, and I know that you got those plays. So you gave us a lineup. You gave us your Fuego pick of the week.
Well, I made a change. So here's my lineup. Here we go.
Let's go.
Lineup. I'm going to give you one lineup for the main slate. You convinced me not to play a chain and go down to Barkley. So it's Dart, Barkley, Jonty, Chase, Will Robinson, Williams for New England, Gesicki. If you want to go down, Gesicki. Now this year was out your lineup. So if you want to go down and change, Cook at flex at the 425, Panthers defense. Boom. There's your lineup. GPP.
Dude, man,
Saturday.
this is why we win. This is why we win. I love it, man. Bam, man. Computers, what? Speaking of computers, let's check out the DFS Hero simulated lineup for today's game, right? So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a FanDuel lineup simulated for today's game. Also, I have a DraftKings lineup that I will give out after I give out the Ultra Contrarian lineups for today's game. And when we give out that lineup, we will talk a little bit about that because I know that we got some questions in there. We have a Henry Jacobs question. So let's get to it. FanDuel, today only, Saturday, two games, 4 teams. Stroud, Hampton, Marks, McConkey, Collins, Johnston, Schultz, Flowers, Ravens, defense. I like it. I've seen where they kind of went with that as well, too. Now, you know what? I do want to save, so we'll talk about that when I give mine, because Fuego Steve is a Ravens fan, and I've been talking a lot of shit about the Steelers sitting all of their players, and we haven't let the Ravens fan talk. So let me give out my Ultra Contrarian lineups right now. I'll have bets for this game for today as well, too. So you're getting it all of it, people, right? Let's get to it. The Ultra Contrarian lineups. Ooh, yeah. Bro, I didn't care what you said about Josh Allen, but I had the money for Josh Allen. I got Josh Allen Bucky Irving. Remember that running back I was talking about? The missed macho pick of the week? The only player other than one other player 2 times this year, a macho pick of the week has not scored a touchdown. Bucky showed me out last week, but Bucky will get it done this week. So Josh Allen, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Kyle Williams, Michael Mayer, Ashton Genty. You got the Panthers defense, $100 left over. If you come off of Allen, this lineup screams Joe Burrow. You just go right on down to Joe Burrow, and you light up the Panthers, and you go up to a defense that you might like a little more than that. So that's going to be probably around, you might be able to get the Raiders, but at that point, the team that kept popping up was the Cleveland Browns. So that's why I talked about the Browns earlier. But my FanDuel lineup represents exactly where I was going with these Ultra Contrarian lineups. Tyler Show, Gianti, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase. Couldn't afford A.J. Brown. But don't think about Jacoby Myers not getting that ball this week. You talked about Trevor Lawrence. Brian Thomas Jr. is a joke. Man, I love Brenton Strange. The running backs are both getting points. They're getting work. Travis Etienne out the backfield last week, slicing and dicing. But we got our guy, Jacoby Myers, not getting a touchdown last week. This man is going to score. This week, we're looking for at least 8 targets, 6 catches, 1 touchdown, 76 yards. We're going to mark that in there. That's a great replacement. Of course, back to the lineup. Kyle Williams.
I've been like
Michael. What's that?
I've been liking
Michael
Parker
Mayer?
Washington better than Thomas recently.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. No, you're completely correct about that, Steve. Like,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
we got Michael Mayer, Bucky Irving, Panthers defense, nothing left. Those are your Ultra Contrarian lineups. Steve, let's talk about it. I guess start off a lot of lineups. You've seen where the simulators are going for today, and you've seen where me and you are going for tomorrow. You just brought up Parker Washington.
Yeah, you want to hear my opinion on the Ravens and my lineup for today? I got a DK lineup. So today's a really interesting slate because you got Love out, right? You got Jackson's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play.
Nope.
Yeah. So you got Herbert and Stroud are your 2, and then, do you want to pay down? So I go Herbert, Hampton, Henry, because they're going to have to lean on Henry if they're going to have any chance of winning. Collins, Doubs on Green Bay, Johnston, we pair him up with Herbert, Andrews, Flowers, Chargers defense. So that zeroes it out. But I like that. Or if you want to be a little different, come off of Andrews and go likely, right? If you go likely, you could go up from say, or you could go down to Allen, but that's a zeroed out lineup. But I think it's a must win. It's a must win for the Ravens. I mean, that's the bottom line. It is a must win. And today's a weird slate because, we got Love and Jackson out and what's going to happen. But I do think they're going to have to lean on Henry. They're stupid if they don't. If they don't lean on – now, obviously, if they get behind, they got to throw the ball to Flowers. So that's why I like Flowers. And Flowers has been playing really well. But, I saw my buddy last night, Steelers fan, and he's like, I hope you guys lose. And I was like, it has not bin our year that it was supposed to be. But maybe if we can pull out a victory today or tonight, I should say, maybe they have a chance. But if they don't lean on Henry, I don't know what they're going to do. But anyway.
So I'll throw in my DK lineup since you gave your DK lineup. I mean, Steve, you gave out 2 lineups. I gave out 2 Ultra Contrarian lineups. We gave out a DFS Hero lineup, which, by the way, code word DOC gets you 20% off DFS Heroes product. If you want to go over there, join them as well. And we are now giving out lineups for today. I'll run mine real quick. Herbert, Jacobs, Hampton, Flowers, Doubs, Collins, Musgrave, Marks, Packers. I was looking at all the things, and I'm really scared at the defenses that the Chargers and the Texans have. I feel that game is going to be so low scoring. So I was looking at probably Gadsden getting a touchdown. And then I was like, you know what? I know how this is going to play out. We got some things. I like Hampton's position. The only thing that takes me off Henry is because I don't like Huntley at times. I think Huntley fresh. I think Huntley prepared and not dinged up is great. But the fact that I saw him leave last week's game and get dinged up, and he has the questionable tag right now, and then they're going to remove that. I don't like that. He's a running quarterback. All it takes is for one move, and then boom, he's done. Now, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, that
I like Musgrave, by the way. I like Musgrave. Yeah,
you do. Yeah. I almost think I was going to run Musgrave and Andrews. Musgrave and Andrews.
Yeah, because so like in that lineup, if you just drop down to Musgrave, you can go up to the Packers, would leave you $700. That'd be a little bit different. Or you know, I like Johnson. Or you could go down, go get down to Keenan Allen if you really wanted to. But yeah, I like Musgrave. Go ahead.
So for me, it comes back to what you're talking about right there. I like Keenan Allen. I like Johnston. Johnston was a big play for us at the beginning of the season. And for me, it comes down to this guy, Ladd McConkey. In a game that is going to be a defensive struggle, you're going to need your superstar receiver to make a play. That is either Keenan Allen or Ladd McConkey. I feel that with Danielle Hunter and Anderson on the edges coming up, that it's going to be hard to run on this team. And when they figure out, now that's also going to play well too, because Marks is more of a darter for the Texans, so he'll be able to run away into the linebackers, where that's going to take players like Diane Henley. They're going to have to be catching him. They're going to have to cover him out of the backfield, but they're not going to be able to do that because they're also going to have Dalton Schultz to worry about and Nico over the top. So for me, I feel that the Texans can move the ball, but I don't feel that they're going to put up 30, 40 points. And I don't feel that the Chargers are going to put up that amount of points either. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Do you feel that way?
And then if you in that one that I just said, just messing around, you go down to Musgrave, go back to the Chargers D instead of going back up to Green Bay, and then you get McConkey. So, boom, there you go.
And I like that. And for me too, I felt like I really needed to have. I was looking at this lineup. And I was like, man, I want McConkey on this, but I don't trust any of the other quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks I trust are Herbert and Stroud. And Stroud just lays up these stinky games sometimes, and I don't want that. I don't want that. Of course, those are only two quarterbacks that I'm going to roster because I just said I like Malik Willis, but again, he could get hurt too because you got a game with two running quarterbacks that can get crunched by either team. The Ravens defense is going to be out there trying to do it. The Packers defense has been falling off, as I was talking about with that comedy earlier with the Micah Parsons. The sack total is completely off the hook right now. And Sean Gary is doing his job, but he needs other people to step up, and it's not happening. They're just a good defense without Micah Parsons. And for that, I think that does play into the Ravens side of things. What do you think is the key of winning for the Ravens? You've talked about Henry, but is it all Henry, or do you trust in Huntley making the plays to win this game?
I don't trust Huntley at all. I really don't. I think it's maybe coaching. I don't know. Somebody's got to make a play. You can't have turnovers. You got to, it's not been their year. The city of Baltimore, and not just the city of Baltimore, many, many people thought the Ravens were going, and it all started with that loss to Buffalo in week 1. They were going to have a great season and all that stuff. So we don't need to dwell on it, but I don't trust Huntley at all. But right, like you said, if they stack the box against Henry, he's got to make a play. I don't know, man. It's just it's tough. But
I feel bad for you, man. I do. I feel bad for the Ravens Nation. My buddy Justin's a huge Ravens fan too. And it's like, dude, he knows. He's like, dude, I don't even know what to say right now. He's like, I'm seriously worried, and he hates the Pittsburgh Steelers. He hates the Steelers. But man,
I'm still wearing I'm still wearing my Ravens gear with pride. Not today, but I had it on yesterday, and but yeah, it's just Anyway, let's move on.
It is sad, but that does. So to answer this question earlier, we had a question from that comedy. He asked about Henry or Jacobs for tonight. I'm going to lead Jacobs because I think of the two, Jacobs is the safer, although I love Derrick Henry. Don't get me wrong, I love Derrick Henry, but I do feel that Jacobs is the safer of the two. Jacobs does get work in the pass game sometimes. I think they'll need to do that because Roquan Smith does mic up really well and will know where he's going most of the time. But I think that Malik Willis will pull some of that off of Jacobs because he'll be able to make it look like he's an option. They'll be able to fool the Ravens into some misdirections by taking Malik Willis the other way or having Jacobs kind of come behind him. Wilson is also a great running back to run that option as well, too. That's where I think that opens up for Musgrave. Musgrave getting probably around 4 targets in this game. I like your play with Dobbs when you were talking about Dobbs. I have been religiously all over Christian Watson this entire thing. I don't like that he's questionable. He does come up with the pricing. I'll take Dobbs and I'll take his five targets that I know I'm going to get rather than the 4 long balls that Watson might not catch. Is that
I think but see, I think Jacobs and Henry are really close. They're really close in the rankings this week. So I think if I had to choose and you want to be more contrarian in the GPP, you lean on Henry on the road in Green Bay. And we all know you can stack the box against Henry as much as you want. That doesn't matter if he's playing well. Now, again, it ties back to Huntley. But all right. And honestly, Jacobs, he started off really hot. And he did have 23 a couple of weeks ago, but 17 the week before. I say only 17, 10 the week before, 4, 5 last week, 12 attempts. So, and I know, don't call me Homer, but I think it's more of a contrarian play to play the Henry running back on the road with the stacking the box, that stuff. So, I
like it. All right. I mean, you got 2 different answers, but whichever argument for whichever running back that you feel that is going to work for that, that's your answer. But me, I'm going to go with Jacobs, and Steve's going to give you Henry. I don't think you go wrong. I almost wish you kind of would be able to play both. You probably have a great stack team outside of that. So,
Yeah, I mean, you can. Let's
So let's get to a few of the bets that I was targeting for today. And of course, if you get over to Dr. Roto Subs Only Discord, Lou already has his bets in there. And then his Baseball Negative podcast has been really funny. They did some top 10 worst trades, MLB trades of all time. So that him and Kyle went through that. That was pretty hilarious. So a lot of negative baseball things that they have a lot of ways to open up to. So you definitely want to catch that at Dr. Roto, as well as all the other podcasts that we do that are free.
Lou's such a young guy. He was like 2000 later or whatever it was. And me being an Orioles fan, thinking of the Glenn Davis trade and my God. But anyway, dude, I'm an old.
These guys heard us last week too. Me and Lou were locked in. And Lou was definitely locked in with his parlays as well. And then, he more so gives the one parlay big. And then I give you just a ton of smaller parlays, but just a lot of ways to play them. And dude, we literally had our entire weekend, our entire thing, won money, but I had to round robin because of the injury to Mariota. And of course, the injury to, just who else got it? It was Jordan Love. It was Mariota and Jordan Love. I had Mariota 20 yards rushing, Jordan Love 2 touchdowns. And it all went out the window. And then I didn't even get the injury coverage either. So it's like, you know what? Whatever. That's what sucks about sometimes. But here, let's play some of these and let's talk about. So I got CJ Stroud 1 touchdown, Herbert 2 touchdowns. There's you'll hear who's catching that touchdown, brother man. Plus 163 parlay. Love that. I think that at the time I placed this bet earlier, about a few hours ago, Herbert was a plus 118 on the 2 touchdowns, maybe a plus 136. So that, but whatever that was, it came up to that. On the other end game, we got Mitchell. When you were talking about Henry, I feel that if this game, if eventually, if the Ravens get behind, they're going to start throwing, and the throwing running back is Mitchell. Mitchell, 15 yards rushing, Musgrave, 10 yards reception yards, and Andrews, 3 catches gives you a plus 202 parlay. I like that right there. If you get a bonus, throw the bonus on it. Have some fun with it. Now, as for a touchdown parlay, I love Josh Jacobs getting a touchdown, and I love Ladd McConkey getting that touchdown to put the Chargers over the Houston Texans, and that parlay is a plus 568. Steve, what do you think about those plays, and do you think that Mitchell can get that 15 yards rushing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. The Ravens defense. Wait, which one we were talking about? Sorry, I was looking at NBA. Today's
he's got to get to work soon. Mitchell, 15 rushing yards. Mitchell, 15 rushing yards.
Yeah, for sure. That's certainly possible. He's had. I think last week, he had 9 attempts or something. 9, 8, 6. He's gonna have to break one off, but he's getting the attempts. He hasn't gotten the yards. Yeah. He had 8 attempts for 66 yards. 13 yards, 66, 76. I think it's probably a done deal. He'll probably get that because the problem with Henry is if he breaks up one of these big runs, he needs a breather. Or on passing downs, Mitchell come in and then maybe they run a draw or whatever it might be.
That's it.
That's an easy play.
No, that's the play I'm actually doing. And your team does that play. That's for me. That's something that computers just don't teach. And I try to say that it works for the UFC because you have to be a fighter to understand how the fight theory works with the UFC and why computers are going to always be behind on that. But with the NFL, you can use numbers. But what you just said right there, that is a play. And if you guys are behind, we'll probably see Mitchell the end of that, practically the whole fourth quarter or most of the fourth quarter when he needs it. All it takes is that draw play. He runs up the middle for a 9-yard run and then gets 5 more carries throughout the game. We got that 15 yards. We know Andrews has to get 3 catches in this game if you guys are going to have a chance. Give me the 3 catches, and I think that was a positive. But that's what I tried to do is I tried to get all these different little, these little parlays. And, of course, my article, I didn't have one today, but we have all these other articles that are coming out today. And then we're going to go throw in bets and stuff, and then you're going to handle lineups and NBA bets and things like that. It's so much fun to do all this for all of the subscribers and the people who watch our podcast. It makes us feel good, Steve.
Yeah, it does. It's great. Me and my buddies are always chatting, and but I love giving advice and. Sorry. But yeah, Mitchell, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 66, 13. That's done. Andrews 3 catches, all that. You're golden. But all right.
All right. It sounds like we're going to get up out of here. So before we do that, let's just grab our picks. I'm picking Green Bay. I'm picking the Chargers. Who do you got, Steve?
Well, without being a homer, okay, let's see. I got to switch off my NBA here.
You could pick the Ravens.
I just honestly, okay. So Green Bay's a 2.5-point dog. I mean, favorite, right? At home, which means Vegas thinks obviously they want you to bet, but they think Baltimore has a chance. So I think I think it's going to be close. I think Green Bay gets it done. I think the Ravens, it's just not their year. They're not going to get it done. And then to Chargers Texas game, that's a 10-5 team versus 11-4 team. Now that's going to be an interesting game. That's coming up in 45 minutes here.
Yeah.
Chargers, 1.5-point favorites. I think the Chargers take it at home.
I love it, man. And I know this was a longer episode. Steve, I know that you've had some crazy times and things are getting a lot more settled down, but it's really like we're going to do the Ultra Contrarian show all the way to the Super Bowl, but this is now one of last 2 weeks left that we have a full slate. We only got next week, man, and then from there it's just kind of going to do what we do. But, you know, I got to say thanks again.
Well, that's okay. I'm a short slate specialist, so we got you for that too.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do, brother, man. Thanks again, everybody. Get over to Dr. Roto. Use code word WIN. DFS Hero. Use code word DOC. Get to W Energy. No fillers, no dyes. Use the code word Bring the Energy. You will get a percentage off of your subscription. And always remember to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah. Woo, let's Mr. Money, people. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.